What's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. News and views, views on the news. Another message to preach and teach. And before I get started, let me greet everybody. Hovorden Hordu Gudag Ola Oi to the Bane versus Los Bonjour Mizami Kedu Bawani Konnichiwa Ni hao ma Sani Bonani Jamba Habari Gani Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Alright, on this, there was a radio show, well, it was a morning radio show, where a black American woman, a BAW, finally admits the truth as to why Afro men are leaving the black women alone. Period. And exposes the hypocrisy of said black woman. All right. So, hypocrisy like this. Black women lift Maya Angelou up high because she writes poetry and she's a black woman. But she was married 3 times to the French guy, which we would classify as Caucasian. The black men never had a problem with it. But we started to see the handwriting on the wall that the black woman really didn't care for us, especially when she came into a little change. This is what started the exodus of the Afro men with change from the community. It was direct. It was a direct result as the treatment that we received from the black woman. And this video will show that. All right. So I would like for you to do this. All right. On my live stream, I discussed this, a comment by this Egypt Nepthys. All right. Now, one, I could tell this was a black woman that wrote this because this is foolishness in what she's saying. All right. And it's straight up foolishness. All right. And she is admitting something. She is admitting that the black woman, or at least in her opinion with those that she talked to and those that she discussed with, love evil, period, point blank, without knowing that that's what she's admitting. She goes, the thug in the spiritual realm is the runaway slave. That is why the appeal. The good guy has conformed to the plantation while the thug lives on the outside. Now, she says this not realizing that the black woman is the plantation. And the thug don't live on the outside. He lives with the black woman who rules over him. All right. Now, you could tell there's a hint of evil in this is because the good guy that leaves the plantation, that branches out, that says F you on the plantation, right? That says, well, black woman, if you don't want to be with me to leave off of this plantation and you want to wallow in evil, then stay there and wallow in evil, right? The thug, remember, the thug don't leave the hood. The hood is the plantation. The thug does not leave the hood. But the guy that gathers resources and the guy that educates himself, the guy that decides not to take no SH, The guy that becomes independent of the system through hard work. You see how she's making that guy to be spiritually evil. Look at how corrupt this person's heart is. This person is trying to make this person spiritually evil. Why? To make up for her own shortcoming as to why she like to choose demon-possessed men to sleep with and produce children with. Men that she knows that's going to stay in the system, not going to ever be able to leave because they got records. All right. And I pointed this out to her. This was my comment back to her. I said, not true. Good guys. The good guy is the runaway slave that made his own way without the system, while the thug is the lazy slave that's always under the slave master's thumb, but disposable. Thugs don't run away. They are too afraid to do something different. So they fight amongst themselves. Hence, black on black crime. Thugs are never free like the women that love them. All right. The women aren't free from the system either, is because they depend on the system for their substance. Instead of the good men where they could be free, be able to travel, and the system allows them to travel every once in a while. Oh, but when they travel, they go places to get screwed by other men, thinking that they done did something. And so black women, when they go somewhere, their main concern is, do these guys in these countries like black women? And all they need to do to prove they like black women is to screw them. So they screw them. The black women buy them their lunch and everything. It's the easiest piece of tail that these men ever got. So now they go overseas and they're considered a 304. Whereas black men go overseas, we're considered strong, creative, kind of fearless, funny. Wow. Think about that for a minute. Thugs can't do that, right? Black women love thugs because they relish in failures that need them. And what I mean by that is, so long as you need a black woman will pretend she love you. But the fact that these are the kind of guys that she chooses to give her body to means that she don't love them either. She's just using her body to control them. Oh, and then they get pissed to high heaven when they cannot control the man. But see, a good man cannot be controlled with the punani. You better come with some good behavior. You better come with what he wants, because he don't give a F what you want. He's already having the ability to provide what you need. See, black women don't want what they need. They want to control the resources of a black man. Period. And when a black man don't fall for it, oh, they get so angry. But there's not much you could do to a good man. Oh, call him evil. Oh, that's basically what she just did. All right. Now you got the setup. Listen to what this woman says. She actually tells the truth while not wanting to tell the truth, but she got put on the spot. Listen up.
Relationships, black men and black women.
Renee, what were you going to say? I guess the question becomes, at what point did the black male decide that he was going to go with the white woman? Because...
All right, understand this. Black women are only concerned with the black male going with the white woman. All right, and one of the things that I didn't mention in the picture that you saw in the background before, that you saw moving, was that black women were okay when they believed the myth that the good black men were talking to those white women, when it's the complete opposite. The thugs are talking to those white women. because the thugs have been taught by the black woman that fat behinds are attractive. And they get to get it with peace. And they get to get it when they want to with them big white women. Them big white women talk to them nice. Them big white women don't hop up in their face trying to fight them like a man. All right? So understand that. Now, let's hear a breakdown.
When you look at it, when you hear a lot of black men talk about, especially someone who is a lawyer, obviously more than likely when they were growing up, they probably were rejected by black women, and
why would that be?
Well, sometimes when people are kind of smart, they may be kind of nerdy. Their presentation may not be cool. And so ultimately they turn to what was more acceptable. And unfortunately, this is a stereotype, and I don't like to deal with stereotypes.
Now, she just told the truth, and now she's trying to diminish it by saying it's a stereotype. But stereotypes kind of work across the population that you're using it on. And the reason why they become stereotypes is because people see them in most of the population. Of course, there is no absolute, so it's not in all the population. But when you see across the population, when black men in droves, and the vast majority of them, like in a 90 percentile, are telling you that you have these behaviors that she's about to expound upon, then it's more than just a stereotype, it's truth.
I really don't like to deal with statistics too much. However,
oh, and you hear that? She don't like to deal with statistics, which is another measure of some truth. It is not the whole truth, it is the measure of truth. So statistics tells you the probability of stuff happening, and the probability that chances are, if you meet a particular woman, she's going to behave in this manner, because statistically, with their sample groups in particular populations, these are the behaviors that have been exhibited. What's been reported. Statistics is somebody going out asking questions, some of the times loaded questions, but nevertheless questions to get answers. All right? And so this is what people think. This is how people act.
if you look at it from a stereotypical standpoint, African American women, what we think is attractive, especially when we're younger, isn't the nerdy looking guy. We kind of go for the guy that isn't as smart, doesn't present as well, the bad guy who ends up in prison.
Is that also true for white women?
White women, I mean, I think you see it more now, but typically white women understand, they're indoctrinated with the belief that you go for the guy that's going to be successful.
Hold on. Now let me back something up real quick. She said now, because white women are looking, everybody who's ratchet are looking to black women to get their ratchetness card, because they think that that's what men like. Right? The only thing is that white women, when they get older, they put that mess in check. And the men that they're talking about is black men, because when they find out that black men don't like that, then they turn back into the white women that the black men love so much. You know, the peaceful one that's not argumentative. Wait a minute. Black men love any woman that's like that. Black, white, Hispanic, or other. All he wants is for you to love him back. All right, but black women don't understand what love is. They think love is control. Why didn't you call me every hour on the hour? But I was in the hospital. So your behind should have got up and see? That's kind of what you get from the black woman. All right, so let's continue.
Not the
Exactly.
guy that is cool or the athlete. You go for the guy that is going to be in a position that can influence the family and generations to come. And who does that? Judges, lawyers,
LeVar Ball.
doctors, entertainers, CEOs of companies. That's why I believe with my limited knowledge, I believe that's why you see white women, black men choosing white women, because they were the ones who accepted them first.
Oh, boy. LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball that started his own shoe. That's leaving a legacy for his sons. All right, and when we say accepted, oh, black women screwed the good black men too, but all they wanted was a check. They wanted our resources. They didn't accept us. They wanted what we had so that they could use it for themselves. They wanted to control us. All right, when we said F you, we're not going to let you control us, and we rolled on, yes, that's how white women actually got into the picture. Because previously, it wasn't the black men that were talking to the white people in droves. It has always been the black woman. Maya Angelou, think about how old she was when she died. All right, minus those years to how old you think she is now. And you will get this, that at the time, Emmett Till was being brutally murdered and beaten for even being lied on as having had looked at a white woman and whistled. This woman was talking to a white guy. You know, the one that y'all think is so Afro, and I understand why the cage bird sings and stuff like that. She was never down for black people. She exploited black people to get rich off of them, like most black women did during this time, like most black women do now. All right? Remember, Emmett Till murdered for whistling at said white woman, which was a lie. And then she admitted late, probably on her deathbed because she's trying to meet Jesus now. So there's that repenting. But you can't bring a life back with the lie. So you can't repent from that. Not now. So Robert De Niro been married to this black woman for a long time. Keep in mind, black women are just now starting to get white women in droves. So subtract the years that De Niro's been talking to black women. Remember, I kept telling you that the person that was the most free in the United States was the black woman? Because even sometimes the white man got it from other white men for talking to a black woman, but a black woman was never castigated in the way that white men were for talking to a white man. That's why a white man felt so free to screw her, produce children with her, and say, all right, these children are black, take them back into the black community. I don't want nothing to do with them. All right, Spielberg. So black women have been selling out the black men for a long time. All right, a long time. Why is it all of a sudden a problem when black men start talking to white women? See, oh, it was okay that at the beginning when I showed you this. Remember the picture that kept blowing up? Yeah, when they thought that black men were talking to white men that looked like that, Oh, but it was a different story. Um, when they also learned that as white men were talking to black women, and black women were selling out black men to white women to produce these children that the white man considers black because it came from. He don't consider these children his seed. Those are white children. All right. So when black women they were okay with all this, none of this is mentioned. Serena, Venus, none of this bothers black women. It bothered black men. We said, oh, black women have her pick. She could do anything she want. So guess what? We making some of ourselves. We gonna do whatever we want. So black women followed this model. They wanted to improve their race by putting a white man in it, and black men said, no, we want to improve all races by putting some black in it. If you know what I mean. All right. So no problem. Now keep in mind, it was never a problem to black women and start until black men start talking to these type of white women. Oh, now let's break something down here. The other problem that they had was these type of white women started to look like this, whereas the physical appearance of the black woman has seriously diminished because they don't take care of themselves anymore. So now we're getting these with not the their attitude isn't as good as it used to be, but they change as they get older. Why? While the black women get worse as she get older. So black men are just tired of it. So guess what? We're like, mm-mm. We left the plantation. And the thing that really, really upsets these black women, no one upsets them more than the Kardashians. But the black man is dispelling the myth that we're talking to trolls, because we've never been talking to trolls. For the whole time when black men started to talk to white women, very rarely did the black white women start out to be big. They got big after a good life of living with a black man. And the black man didn't care. Because at the end of the day, he was the head of the house. And that white woman knew it. So she put on weight as she got older. Black men didn't care. She made him happy, so he was happy. Right? So the lady answers this question. Why do black men love white women? Simply put, because black women hated us. They hated who we are because they were trying to beat us. They were envious of us instead of wanting to share with us, instead of allowing us to share with them. In other words, they were greedy also. They didn't want us, they wanted our resources. But they still didn't want to be under rule of the black man. Understanding that is what was meant, and understanding that he was always stronger, which is why they didn't like the good black man, because he was always stronger than the thug. The thug wasn't strong because he stayed on the plantation. And so the only thing that they could do is lie to themselves about the strength of the good man, and take the strength of the good man, the hard work, the ability to learn, the ability to not to be afraid to go into something different, the ability to teach himself, the ability to stand up to the system. Oh, they want to give all them attributes to the thug who exhibits none of that. The thug is bound by the system. The thug can't go anywhere because he's bound by the system. He's bound by the black woman, and she know it. That's why she love him so much. But she don't love him, because love is that you wouldn't create thugs. And what she does is she creates more thugs and then brainwashes them to never be men, so that she will always have male strength that will beckon to her call. But there's another question. Why is this question only asked of black men and not of black women? Somebody tell me that. So, y'all, here are my final thoughts. What makes the Caucasian woman or a woman of any race look so good is not that anyone's saying that the black woman looked bad or at the time did, but the corruption in their hearts have made manifest on the outside. And the fact of the matter is that if you're an upwardly mobile person, you realize that you're not the slave on the plantation, while the black woman keeps trying to put you on the plantation or trying to get you to stay on the plantation and won't date you, mess with you, and worse than that, talk bad about you if you choose to leave the plantation. This is why they love thugs. But this is also why the working man that is able to escape the plantation is escaping and attaching himself to the Caucasian women or the woman of any other ethnicity. Because basically we tired of the BS and we're tired of the malcontent and bad treatment. Not only this, the black woman is turning out to be a risk to our very life. Period. And that's something to say. And the life of any child that we may have with them. And by life, I'm using three things to constitute life: physical life, spiritual life, mental life. If you are a blight on any of those, then you are a blight on life, period. With that said, I'm out. That's my final thoughts.